landing under pressure, sharing a runway with an emergency aircraft, and a possible issue of my own. All of these things happened in one very busy flight.
Again, Unicom, this is Lake Breeze. Copy for an emergency landing?
Hey, affirmative. We're just ready to touch down here on 2-2 for Julie Golf.
Clear prop. No one left, no one ahead, no one right. And to worry back. After an extensive annual inspection, my plane was finally ready for me to fly again. But my landing on my flight home left a lot to be desired, so I found a nice calm day to do some landing proficiency practice. And if all went well, I would go to Sheboygan, which was the closest airport that I had not yet been to.
Capital Drive traffic, Cherokee 95402, departing 21, staying in the pattern, Capital Drive traffic. Alright, I see a 2112 3 times on the runway.
County traffic, RV122 Bravo,
Set and achieved 300. Airspeed's alive and climbing. Green, green, green. 55. 65 at the grass.
The entire session honing in my landings can be found unedited and uncut on my Patreon. Needless to say, by the end of my practice, I was back to feeling confident with my landings. Satisfied with my landings, I turned to the north and headed to Sheboygan to get my Fly Wisconsin passport stamp.
Capital Drive traffic, Cherokee 402, left crosswind, turning downwind 21, departing to the north, Capital Drive traffic.
I knew that Sheboygan was a popular airport for business jets, so as I briefed my approach, I made sure I was ready to be flexible with whatever traffic was there.
Sheboygan traffic, exit at 720. We're going to be taxiing to runway 22 via Foxtrot, across runway 31. Sheboygan.
Sheboygan traffic, Cherokee 95402, 45 to the left downwind 22, Sheboygan traffic. Sheboygan traffic, Cherokee 402, left downwind 22, Sheboygan.
British traffic, RV7 Tango Sierra, train left base 1840.
Okay, 1500, under 110 flaps, or under 115 flaps 10, pitch for 85. Sheboygan traffic, Cherokee 95402, left base 22, full stop, Sheboygan traffic.
As I turned base, I could see that a business jet was nearing the runway and would be waiting for me. These jets are usually on an IFR flight plan and have a narrow window of time, called a release time, that ATC wanted them to get airborne. Knowing this, I elected to do a short approach with the intent to get off the runway as soon as possible. This would allow the jet to take off a little sooner and not potentially miss their release time.
Sheboygan traffic, Cherokee 402, final 22, full stop, Sheboygan. Okay, that jet's holding short.
The pilot of the jet added a little extra excitement to the approach by letting me know he'd be judging my landing.
No pressure. And force traffic 0304, entering the field left downwind, number 2, runway 1. Nice one.
Thank you. Figure I got to get out of your way. You got to release.
Yes, sir, we have a release, but no worries. Thank you.
And Sheboygan traffic, Cherokee 402 is clear of all runway. Sheboygan traffic. Have a good flight, guys.
Thank you. You have a nice day. And Sheboygan traffic next way at 720. You're taking runway 22 departing.
No pressure.
Sheboygan traffic Arch 2490 Yankee. We're about 7 miles south-southeast, spiraling down for 5,000 Sheboygan. Sheboygan traffic next way at 720. Last call, see ya.
As I taxied to the ramp, I was feeling pretty amused with myself that I was able to rise to the occasion and perform under pressure. But that feeling wouldn't last long. As I sat idle at the end of the runway to take off for home, I had to wait for a few other jets to land.
Sheboygan traffic 112, Charlie Mike, short final, runway 22, Sheboygan.
Sheboygan traffic, Challenger 715 Juliet Fox. We do have this citation. We'll be coming in on a 6.
Sheboygan traffic 425 Juliet Golf, now in the right base for runway 22, about 3 miles out.
In hearing that the next plane landing was about 3 miles out, I knew that I had time to take off in front of it despite it being a faster plane. It was on a right base, which meant it hadn't even turned final yet. Now, landing traffic always has the right of way, but in this case I knew I could take off without presenting a hazard to the landing jet. I scanned the area as I waited for the previous plane to clear the runway. Final was clear and the plane was vacating the runway, so without delay I lined up with the runway and powered up the engine.
And Sheboygan traffic 5 Juliet Fox. We're clearing Alpha 1.
Sheboygan traffic, Cherokee 95402, taking off 22, straight out departure, Sheboygan. Two, 1, 2, 3 times. Takeoff power set and achieve 2300 airspeeds alive and climbing. We're green, green, and green at 65 by 1,000 feet.
Under normal circumstances, sneaking in between planes would be totally fine, but the landing jet's next radio call indicated to me that this was not a normal circumstance.
Sheboygan traffic 5 Juliet Golf, now 2 miles out for runway 22. Full stop for single engine. This is an emergency.
Sheboygan traffic, Cherokee 402, we're clear for you.
Thank you.
I immediately started second-guessing myself. Did they already announce that they were an emergency and I missed hearing it? Did I just cut them off and create a bigger problem for them?
Wish you would have said he's an emergency. I would have not done anything for him.
In listening back to the recording, they hadn't announced on frequency that they were an emergency until after I was already airborne. Nevertheless, I still called the airport after I landed and passed along my apologies to the crew. Had I have known they were an emergency aircraft, I never would have entered the runway. If I had an engine problem of my own, or blew a tire, or hit a bird, or anything else that would have caused an aborted takeoff, then this landing emergency aircraft would not have been able to land because I would have been stranded on the runway.
Unicom, this is Lake Breeze. Copy for an emergency landing.
Hey, affirmative. We're just ready to touch down here on 2-2 for Julie Golf.
Copy that. This truck is on the way.
Thank you.
Thankfully, none of those issues happened and everything was just fine. But it's a good thing to think about when you're trying to sneak in between other traffic. As I settled into cruise, my mind was stuck on how I could have been a problem for that emergency plane. It wasn't until I was close to home that I started noticing that a problem of my own was developing. My engine oil temperature gauge was showing a high temperature. Thankfully, I was close to home and ready to descend. In the moment, I thought maybe I had leaned the fuel-to-air mixture too aggressively, so I decreased power and enriched the mixture, and the temperature began to come back down to normal.
This one, the ball is 1 mile to the south. What kind of things on for left downwind 113 192?
Warsaw traffic, Cherokee 4061 Romeo, 12 miles northeast for 27 Warsaw.
Capital Drive traffic, Cherokee 402, upwind 21, Capital Drive traffic.
Traffic, Decathlon 4 Mike Alpha, transitioning north to south 3,300 feet. Traffic, Comanche 66. 20 Papa, turn in final, 27, Campbell. Hello, traffic, 281 Echo Alpha, turning left, crosswind, runway 25, Lloyd traffic.
Hey, this traffic, this one got bad. Left base, 401 左右。
Lloyd traffic, Skyhawk 281 Echo Alpha, turning left downwind, runway 25, and we are departing to the east this time, Lloyd traffic.
Capital Drive traffic, Cherokee 402, left crosswind, turning downwind 21, Capital Drive traffic.
Oceana traffic, 7 Hotel crossing, midfield, 2,900 for teardrop entry at turning final, runway 21
Okay, we're beam 1500, under 115, flaps 10, pitch for 85. Capital Drive traffic, Cherokee 95402, left base 21, full stop, Capital Drive traffic. Capital Drive traffic, Cherokee 402, final 21, full stop, Capital Drive traffic.
South 7 Sky, 240 uniform, 2 miles final, runway 20.
I put the plane away and talked to a few other pilots in the area about my flight. We talked about my short field landing, my possible cutting off of the emergency plane, and eventually got to talking about the oil temperature. They agreed that over-aggressive leaning could cause the engine to get hotter, which would then in turn make the oil temperature hotter. Either way, the needle gauge never reached redline, and I decided it would still be safe to fly and that it was likely something that I did differently on this flight that caused the issue. But on my next flight, the problem would get worse. The needle would hit redline, and I would have to decide whether or not I would have to declare an emergency. That video is coming soon, but until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on the Badger Pilot.